That's right. We're on the air. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
All right.
David Wax is here, and Suze is also here, and together they are David Wax Museum. And you've gotten some nice press. Been reading different pieces with you.
Thank you.
New York Times did a nice piece on you. And
I mean, we've been very fortunate in that regard. I think that there's so much great music out there, but I think that I hope that we're doing something that feels a little different, and so I think people connect with that and like, oh, this is curious. Like, what's going on here? And then there's like, oh, what's the story behind it? And then so if you can make good music and there's also kind of an interesting narrative behind it that seems to, get people curious and at least want to find out more about it.
There's every reason to be.
We've been fortunate.
I like the comment you made that 21st century art is essentially art of fusion. I think that's increasingly becoming fairly obvious, isn't it?
Oh,
As the century goes on, we've got a whole century of music to draw on.
For sure. And it's not, I mean, partly that's just because, it's so available. Like, it's so easy. You can just, on Spotify now, you can just, whatever your heart desires, you can go find it on there, and some obscure rural folk recordings, and then you listen to that alongside some kind of, indie rock, like dubstep thing, and then, all of a sudden when you're making music, the bridge between those two different styles doesn't seem that far apart in your mind.
Right. Because it really isn't, right?
Yeah.
It's all about the spirit.
Exactly. But the music that we draw a lot of inspiration from, son jarocho in particular, and even just generally son mexicano, that is a fusion music that came together over hundreds of years of African slaves, people that came from Spain or from their Spanish descendants in Mexico and in indigenous people of Mexico. So at its heart, this music is,
right.
Three very distinct styles that came together.
So it must have been fun for you to go down there and start delving into that, huh?
It has been a great journey. So.
Please play something for us.
Yeah, sure. We're going to play a song called Forgiveness off of our new record. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Cuando se falla, se desmaya, ya está. Ay, qué desmadre, Espíritu Santo y el Padre. Todo depende de si se defiende, Madre María. Everybody's coming for forgiveness. Everybody's coming, though the heat is merciless. Here, take some water off the back of this truck. People here don't believe in love. Everybody's coming for forgiveness. Por la noche, por el día, cuando se falla, se desmaya, ya está. Ay, qué desmadre, Espíritu Santo y el Padre. Todo depende de si se defiende, Madre María. Madre María. Por la noche, por el día, cuando se falla y se desmaya, ya está. Ay, qué desmadre, Espíritu Santo y el Padre. Todo depende de si se defiende, Madre María.
Nicely done. David Wax Museum, our guests, David and Suze. You know, it struck me right while I was listening to you playing, David, that all of the music that is sort of the roots of American popular music has been fairly well explored and fairly well documented, except for the Mexican-American influence, which is pretty powerful, especially in Texas music, right? But that's not talked about that much, and there's not that much, that's really... it's just not talked about that much. That's the best way I think I can put it, even though, you get Sam the Sham and Sir Douglas and all those people in the 60s and Steve Earle, and there have been any number of people who have drawn on it, but nobody really talks that much about it,
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's kind of on the cultural fringes in a lot of ways. I sense that that's changing to some degree, just as kind of the Latino presence in America is becoming more widespread and more mainstream. And I think that, there are examples historically of bands that have brought that into kind of the American pop idiom, and you have examples of even kind of the crossover with Los Lobos doing La Bamba and Richie Valens, but I still think those are kind of isolated. You can kind of like, okay, those were the times that it really came cut across and to reach a more mainstream audience, and because there's still such isolated examples, I think that there's still just like so much left to explore and to kind of bring to a wider audience.
No doubt.
That is as valid and as exciting as all of the other parts of American folk music.
So, Suze, was this an immediate get? I should tell you, Suze, your photographs don't do you justice. Was that an immediate get for you, this music, when you met David? Because that wasn't necessarily the music you were playing at the time, was it?
I had grown up playing old-time fiddle music, some Irish fiddle music, classical, and so I met David, and our band has always included American folk music and then these kind of Mexican-inspired songs.
The band that you were with before David?
Well, no, when we started the band David Wax Museum. It always
but before that, was that something you'd listened to much or anything?
Bands. No, I had not delved into Mexican music.
So this was David leading you down this path, is that it?
Yeah, and the kind of the symbol of that was when he said, "Susan, I'm glad you play the fiddle, but how about picking up the donkey jawbone as a new instrument?" And I said, "Sure."
Not the first instrument that most people think of when they think about playing an instrument, is it?
That's true.
But it's a percussive instrument of some kind, I think, isn't it?
I don't have it right here in the studio, but we'll have it tonight.
How big is a donkey's jawbone?
Well, I mean, imagine
it's fairly
the head
big,
of a donkey.
That looks like about 2 feet almost.
Yeah, it's well, maybe a foot and a half. But it's a fairly big bone with the teeth all still there that rattle when you hit it and.
The teeth rattle. I got you. Okay. So you hit it from the outside of the jaw.
Yep. I have a stick to run up and down the teeth too.
And you were both Harvard students, I think, right?
I was not.
True?
David was, but we met. We both had been in school in Boston. I was at Wellesley College, but we met a couple years after graduating.
Oh, did you? Yeah, you didn't know each other when you were in school.
Never met when we were in school.
Do you still live in Boston?
No, we did for many years. And that's where the band got started, and a lot of our early successes were kind of based around that market and playing at the Newport Folk Festival.
Which I think somebody said you were the explosion or something like that at the folk festival in 2012, I think it was.
In 2010 actually, it was kind of a breakout performance for us where we started to garner a little bit of national attention for what we were doing. But now we actually live in Suze's hometown in Charlottesville, Virginia. We moved down there 2 years ago, right before our daughter was born. And so now we live down in the south, not too far from here. We're thinking about crazily driving home tonight after the show because we're so anxious to get back. But
I guess the challenge for anybody doing what you do is to have a real life. Right. In addition to
well, we've made touring feel very real. We travel with our 2-year-old.
We
often have my dad or another family member or friend come along to help out. So we've been doing this for 6 years full time touring, and so we've tried to make it feel real so that it doesn't feel like you're in this.
Right, I got you.
La La Land.
But I guess it helps to be in Charlottesville.
Yeah,
at least
lots of
part
family
of the time, right?
and lots of a great community there.
Allows you to feel grounded.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It is when it takes longer as a musician when you live anywhere because especially if you tour like us, because everything just happens a lot more incrementally because you're gone so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think now that we've been there for over 2 years, we're starting to kind of put down new roots there and feel like, all right, we have like a home life there that kind of is its own entity, and we have a road life.
Right.
But hopefully, yeah, you try to kind of bring some sense of normalcy to both of them, even though they sometimes feel like entirely different universes.
I can only imagine. Please, that guitar that you have is what is that called?
It's a Harana Jarocha, and it's
Because it looks specifically like an instrument that a Mexican musician might play. Huh?
It's from southern Veracruz, Mexico. I got it from a family of luthiers south of Santiago Tuxtla. So that's about 3 or 4 hours south of the port of Veracruz.
It looks like a miniature guitar.
Yeah, and a lot of people mistake it for a ukulele.
Yeah, I can see why, yeah.
So it's kind of comparable in shape and size to a baritone ukulele. But it's double stringed, and a lot of the style of playing it comes, most strongly from the flamenco tradition. So a lot of the hand movements that I use remind and are reminiscent to our ears of that flamenco style.
Will you give an example of that strumming style?
That music is so intense. It's start banging on the guitar. So there's obviously a huge Spanish influence in Mexico.
For sure.
But I didn't realize it was so direct like that.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the songs can be traced back to Spanish origins and have kind of found their way into Mexico. And then, yes, lots of the small guitars are directly linked to the earliest guitars that arrived from Spain.
Oh, okay. Because it's the shape, right? But the shape of the Spanish guitars, I think, probably would be a little bigger than that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but when you see the old ones, if you go to an instrument museum and you see the earliest guitars that arrived, hundreds of years ago, they surprisingly look a lot like this. This is almost more like the prototype for how guitars changed over the years and then, took on the more modern form that we think of.
And then you studied Spanish in school?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I studied the language in junior high and high school, and then found myself in Mexico in college during my summers and ended up studying Latin American history and literature at Harvard.
Well, to my ear, but both of you have a really nice accent with the music. was that a challenge for you, sister?
I'd also studied Spanish. You mean that we sang in Spanish in that last song? Yeah. So I always loved languages. I took 3 languages in college, and my dad is a linguist of sorts. So it feels natural to at least attempt to sing in Spanish. And I just said last night that we really need to brush up on our speaking skills now that we're singing in Spanish. I feel like we need to go back to Mexico soon, or to Spain, and speak more.
Just listen to it.
Yeah.
Do you write in Spanish?
Well, that last song was original in Spanish, but I don't do that very often. That was kind of going out on a wire for me and kind of getting outside my comfort zone. I'd love to do more of that. It really challenged me a lot as a songwriter, and I thought I wrote something that I would certainly never have written in English.
Yeah, given how many people find it a challenge to write a song in English, to write it in a second language has got to be a real challenge.
Yeah, it's just you're on different footing. But I think, I don't know. I always feel more comfortable singing in Spanish than speaking in Spanish. I mean, it's like you learn particular verses, and there's a way where you just kind of, I don't know. I feel a deep ease when I sing in Spanish. And I think I sing in a different way. My mom thinks I sing much better when I sing in Spanish than in English.
She did say that last week, actually.
So I don't know what it is, but I think maybe there's a sense of you're articulating a little bit more. There's a little bit more of a consciousness about the words. I don't know what it is.
It sounds wonderfully lyrical.
I've got like bad habits in English, so I don't know. But
I want to make sure you have time to sing another one. So
we'd love to. Yeah. And we're excited. We played in Chattanooga before, but it's been many years. So we're excited to be at the Barking Lakes tonight.
And I guess it'll start, what, about 7:30?
I think that's right. I think the opening band will go on right at 8 and we'll go on at 9. So doors will
Barking Lakes is on Dodds Avenue. Our guest, David Wax Museum. Nice to have you here.
Thank you so much for having us. We're going to play the title track from our our new record. This is called Guest House, and it's a song that's based on a couple different Mexican folk songs that I've kind of melded into one strange fusion one here. So here we go. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a simple request. Hope it's not an imposition. Hope it's not an imposition. I have a simple request concerning your house for guests and me. I'm in a time of transition. I have a simple request. Hope it's not an imposition. I've been living out of a suitcase, sleeping in dingy rooms, sleeping in dingy rooms. I've been living out of a suitcase. I've never lived in LA, but I've always wanted to. I've never lived in LA, but I've always wanted to. Can I stay in your guest house? Will you let me stay in your guest house? I won't get in the way, I'll be quiet as a mouse. No music after 8 if you let me stay in your guest. Hey, 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 hey. There's a lemon tree out back. I'll make you lemonade. I'll make you lemonade. There's a lemon tree out back. Leave it on the back porch so that you never leave the shade. There's a lemon tree out back. I'll make you lemonade. Can I stay in your guest house? Will you let me stay in your guest house? I won't get in the way, I'll be quiet as a mouse. No music after 8 if you let me stay in your guest. Hey, 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 hey. You chose a certain path, found you were underdressed, found you were underdressed. You chose a certain path, now you fly first class, and you have a house for guests. You chose a certain path, found you were underdressed. I did what made my heart sing, I threw away the oars, I threw away the oars. I did what made my heart sing, now I need a place to crash. Please open up your door, I just need a place to crash. Please open up your door. Can I stay in your guest house? Will you let me stay in your guest house? I won't get in the way, I'll be quiet as a mouse. No music after 8 if you let me stay in your guest house. I Google mapped it there, I said it. To see the street I might live on, to see the street I might live on. I Google mapped it there, I said it. Corner store is Ayurvedic. Just past the dog salon, a gated fence with cameras on to keep us from the wolves beyond. The soul is a guest in the body, you gotta treat it right. You gotta treat it right. The soul is a guest in the body. Don't kick it out too early. Can I just stay the night? 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 Can I stay in your guest house? Will you let me stay in your guest house? Can I stay in your guest house? Will you let me stay in your guest? Hey, hey, hey,
All I can say is stay as long as you want, but unfortunately we ran out of time. Thank you so much. David
Thanks so
Wax
much for having
Museum,
us.
Parking Lakes tonight.